Hello everyone, Burb here. Today we are talking about a much requested topic in the form of pull priorities. And pull priorities is possibly the most important topic to talk about because it is the only one that affects real life directly in the form of money or your wallet, or at least the temptation to spend money for currency as your resources dwindle more and more over time. In a gacha system, you have two variables. One of them you cannot control, which is your gacha pull luck. But the other variable you can control, which is how you utilize the pulls that you actually are given and the pulls that you purchase. So we are talking about that second half. I'm going to attempt to illustrate this via going through my own pull plan and showing you how I build my own pull plan. To answer the question on the screen is blank a must pull or skip. The boring answer, a YouTuber might react to this and say, hey, the answer is everything must pull or skip? It's neither a must pull nor a skip. Everything is in between. That's the boring answer. Just hit swipe more. All right, there you go. That's a synopsis, right? But there's a lot of nuance in pull priorities I'm going to attempt to go through because everything is, of course, a sliding scale. You have cards that are generally considered weak that may have niche uses but don't really exist past possibly some troll builds or some high roll builds. You have cards that are specifically built for certain CMs that fall off incredibly quickly or are only used for the occasional dirt CM. You have cards that are nice to have. You have umas that are nice to have. They're not necessarily 100% required. You have cards that have direct meta impacts that exist for years or months on end. And then you finally have the cards that are the backbone of different scenarios that will directly impact your enjoyment of the game for the next 4 months in our accelerated schedule. Finally, you have the actual must pulls, but everything is based on your situation. You may not need to actually pull for the direct meta character or the direct meta card depending on your personal situation, and it may be better to hold off and pull on a later banner because you can't get everything unless you swipe. So I'm going to attempt to go through this using my situation because everything is dependent on your situation. I have almost all the SR cards good. So I have a backbone of SR cards that I can fall back on if I do not have the 100% best SSR card for the situation. I have all the speed cards, including the ones for Mant. I have all the power cards I need, including for the ones for Mant. I do have Man Cafe Stamina for the coming CM. And of course, I got a little bit lucky on some SSR pulls, but I do have 2 of the big 3 in Kidison Black and Super Creek. I've gotten lucky in getting some just random power cards just from pulling on different banners, and I have Nice Nature Wit because I am more of a late surger focused player. That's important to mention that this will be through the lens of a late surger focus because I have Nice Nature Wit, 3LB, that I will be using an SR guarantee ticket on, and I have Yukino Bijin 0LB that I possibly will be using the other SR ticket on to get to 1LB for Nimble Navigator, no stopping me when Grand Life comes out. I do not have any fine motion copies, and that is very important for the coming discussion because I am going to go over what I am pulling on in March and April. This includes the Fine Motion banner, the Fuku banner, etc., going forward. So let's begin. This joke would have been a lot better if I did it in January when I pulled for Nice Nature, but alas, I didn't do this video until now. So yes, I am not pulling on anything in pretty much the near future until May. This is because carrots are money. Money is fungible, and a carrot that's spent now is not a carrot that I can spend later. This is delayed gratification. I am sacrificing now for a much greater gains later. I could be an absolute beast and make a new track if I pulled on one of these banners, but I think I'm fine and make a new track, and I will go over this. And I think I can really push my account forward in the coming months that has lasting impact for the next year and get myself on the right foot. So I'm going to be going over how I make my own pull plan. So I'm going to grab a drink of water and let's begin. All right, so the first thing that I consider the most important thing for my pull plan is, of course, the math behind it. Okay, I forgot about the math behind it. All right, you have to figure out how much carrots you're actually getting per month. And there are carrot calculators out there that do this for you. I have a conservative estimate that I use about 24,000 carats per month because we get generally about 20,000 carats plus 26 tickets for 4,000 carats, which give you about 8/10 of a spark or 4/5 of a 200 pull pity. 8,000 of these are because of my personal performance. So I I do lower them a bit. I do third place in A finals. I also do group A when my club gets A plus. I also do class 5.5 instead of 6 for team trials, just to give myself a buffer. 16,000 of these are just from events, so most of you guys will have a pretty close to this number, at least 16,000 carats just given through gifts and events. This isn't including any of the special Valentine's gifts that they've been giving to us, so this is a very conservative estimate. What I have on the account total right now is roughly about 50,000 carats, because I have 38,617 and 76 combined tickets between my UMAs as well as my SR, what's it called, the SSR support card tickets. So I have about 1.6 sparks. A spark is 1/200 pull pity. If you're not aware of that terminology, we call it a spark because it's when we want to go, and really you should only be pulling in sparks. You should only be pulling in sets of 200, because 199 pulls has a 77.6% chance of getting you the card. 200 pulls gives you a 100% chance of getting the card because you can select it in pity, and this includes UMAs as well. And you maintain that 77.6% chance of actually having a separate one. So if you're pulling for multiple copies, the 200 pull is just basically an entire +1 expected value. So you should really only be pulling in sets of 200, and if you have to get less than that, hey, it's just a bonus at that point. So we get 24,000 carats per month is what I'm saying I personally get. Out of 30,000, we get 0.8 sparks per month, and I just extrapolate this through the entire months to come. Carat calculators do this for you. You can do this in one of those apps. This is how I'm just illustrating it here. So March, I'll have 1.6. I have 1.6 currently, sorry, in March. At the start of April, I'll get plus 0.8 for 2.4. May gets 3.2, 4, 4.8, 5.4, 6.2, all the way down till December. I have tested this in a carat calculator. This is Henry Hansom's carat calculator. Highly suggest it. There's a video on it. You can just search it up. I probably will put it in the description. But Mesura Romano in December will have approximately 1,874 pulls if I did nothing until then. You subtract the 120 free pulls, you divide it by 200, and that's about 8.77 sparks. And this estimate gives me 8.6 sparks. So I am very confident about this actual spark amounts that I'm having per month. So this is without any free stuff they give us, but this is, I think, a conservative estimate at the very least. So the most important thing to pull for, I'm sorry I faked you out before because I forgot I actually had math in this video, is your Oshi. And I mean Oshi singular. So mine's winning ticket. Pick one character. That is your Oshi. Your Oshi is not every umamusume in this game. If you do this, you will basically be swiping every single week at this point. Pick one. And just while we're at it, your Oshi is not exactly these characters of Oguri Cap in a Christmas outfit, Mahono Bourbon in a Valentine outfit, and Marzensky in a swimsuit. If these three are your Oshis, I'm a little bit doubtful. And while we're at it, hey, if you're bringing Kiddison Black, Tamamo Cross, and Narita Taishin into the next Pisces Cup CM, I don't think you're actually doing it for Oshi reasons. I have a little bit of a doubt that those are purely for Oshi reasons. I don't know what it is, but there's something in the back of my head that's nagging it. But anyways, pick one character. That's your Oshi. That's the character you really enjoy the most. If you don't have one that's out just yet, that's fine. You don't have to do this section. But for me, hey, winning ticket gets a skin, and it's a 3-star skin, so I don't have to worry about, hey, we're playing a 1-star character. Let's be honest. It's a little bit tough. And this ticket may not be top of the meta, but hey, I'm pulling for this character, and I don't care what people says. If you don't have money for the character of your Oshi, yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. So you have the option of just praying Side Games gives you enough carats by the time you can pull it, or you can swipe, or you can just wait for the next 3-star selector. It's kind of the only ways around it. There's no real respite in this, unfortunately. I apologize. You got this video a little bit late, and I probably could have made this 2 months ago and possibly saved you. But what you can do now is do your best to follow a pull plan that you have made from here on out. So I am pulling for winning ticket. That is on August 4th, 2026. That's the most important thing for me, is to pull on characters that I enjoy so that I keep playing this game. So I'm removing one spark because this is a character. So characters, I'm saying I am getting 200 pulls to pull for this character. This also happens to be a double banner, and I wouldn't mind getting Narita Taishin either. So I just subtract one from this pull plan, and all months past it. So 4.8 before, 3.8, and now Romanu has 7.6 left. All right, then I am talking about the meta defining cards. I think there are a couple of meta defining cards that are worth pulling on, and they're not going to be all of them. 3LB Plus on Fine Motion is a very meta-defining card because she is very good for a whole year, and after that she is very good for almost an entire other year. She is not the best card in the world, but her stat stick and her wit output is so good that you'll get all the way through the next 3 scenarios with just her, and she can be run alongside Romanu. Don't let people say, hey, this card is dead after Romanu. You play this card with Romanu for certain Pace Chaser comps no matter what. I don't pull this card because I'm a late Surge main, and I have pulled for Nice Nature Wit. And we're going to be seeing this a lot. Luckily, I pulled for Nice Nature Wit. I had Cold Feet when this banner came out because I was like, oh, it's not as good as Fine Motion. And then I did this video on how close is Nice Nature Wit and Fine Motion. I found, hey, Nice Nature's like 10% worse. In Grand Live, it's not as good as Fine Motion. But then also I have like 2 months now that I've just been playing with it and enjoying the game. And I have all of Mant that she's technically better. So I have like 6 months that I have better than Fine Motion, and then I have 6 months where Fine Motion's better than this. So it's like, it's kind of 50-50. And so I'm not pulling on Fine Motion, but Fine Motion is certainly a meta-defining card. The next section I like to call Am I Cooked in Mant? Because I am not pulling for Fuku or Narita Top Road. I have Nice Nature Wit, which has 15% race bonus, and I hope that I can run Kittison or other cards that are 5% race bonus to compensate for the fact that I do not have these cards. I can always borrow these cards. But when Throne comes out, let's just say I hope that Shinko Windy is good enough, because I'm going to have to borrow Throne because that card is absolutely insane and has too short of a shelf life to actually be pullable. And that's a big thing, is that these cards, because they really only exist for one scenario, Fuku's decent in Grand Live, but it's not really that great. Your Top Road falls off, and Throne, obviously, if they don't pull this back a bit, Throne's good for like 1 or 2 CMs at most, and shelf life is very important when making your pull plan, because like Nice Nature, it's been good for me since January when I pulled it, and it's going to be good all the way through Romanu. I'm going to be running it with Romanu, and hey, it's going to be fine. Like, it's not going to be the greatest card in the world after Romanu, but I've gotten a whole year out of this card rather than a whole month out of this card. So these things are what the later ratification is. You could pull for Throne, but if you're not swiping, you're spending 60,000 carats on a card that's going to last you a month when you could be spending it on the next banner, which is Light Hello 2LB and Agnes Tachyon 1LB. So the Grand Live cards that are very, very good. One of them, Light Hello 2LB, is considered pretty good because the R card doesn't have the special thing right now. They may change this because they did change this with Rico, now that I think about it. So hold up on this. You may only need R, but I think if they don't do that, you will probably like to have 2LB because of the 10% training effectiveness. It's just so much, this training effectiveness. If they do change the R, that actually makes things interesting. I didn't even consider that before making this video. I just thought about this on the first run through. So 2LB is what I will be aiming for. And then, of course, Agnes Tachyon 1LB is what I think is required because this gives you the speed bonus. Now, I wouldn't mind having more Agnes Tachyon because I don't necessarily have fine motion. So when I'm playing Pace Chaser, it's not the worst thing in the world. The next big one, this is the biggest one I think, and by far, is Measure Romano MLB. The amount of wit this card gives is ridiculous. It just has so much wit bonus that it's essentially the meta will become playing Romano, and if you're running a second wit card, it better be a skill card. So this is why I don't think Nice Nature Wit was ever bad to pull. So I don't think Fine Motion's bad to pull. Mr. CB, the end closers have, and Bourbon Valentine is your front runner card, and you would run one of those with Romanu Wit, and that is basically what you would run in the shorts and mediums, or shorts and miles at least, is what I think is going to happen. Otherwise, you just run solo Wit with Romanu for the miles and mediums, right? Finally, El Condor Pasa Speed MLB is really far in the future, but it's something to really think about. But other than that, I don't really think there's many true must pull or true meta defining cards that are purely good for every single role and every single player. If you're able to pull for these, you are at a good advantage over everybody else. And the reason why you want to pull for these is, yes, you can borrow them. You can borrow Fuku here, but hey, you want to be flexible. So if I'm running an end closer, I would like to run a Yabe for a Daring Strike right now until CB Wit comes, right? If I'm running a Pace Chaser, I may want to be Fine Motion. So because I'm pulling for the meta card eventually, I can use one of these other really nice high value meta cards for specific roles when I'm playing other roles besides my main role that I'm actually spending carrots on cards to use. So this becomes basically, by pulling the meta card, like because I have Kidison, let's say, and because I have Nice Nature Wit, I can run Ayabe because I have enough Wit Gen, I have enough Speed Gen, and I can run the Skill Monkey card for my end closer. I can run the Pace Chaser card with more Wit even for my Pace Chasers. If I'm in a long CM, I can even put in like Manhattan Cafe to double stamina and get a ton of stamina through just 2 stamina cards. So there's all these things to consider because, hey, if you pull the meta card, you can just make your borrow slot anything that you want it to be, and you have essentially like all the other cards that are not as like universal, you own them because they are your borrow slot. So I am pulling for the Light Hello 2LB and the Romanu at the very end. I think those are the 2 meta-defining cards they make sense for me. I'm not pulling for Fine Motion. I'm not pulling for Fuku, stuff like that. So, hey, this is 716 to 814. I am essentially pulling, sorry, I have misordered. I'm pulling in July with 100 free pulls for 1.5 sparks. The reason why it's 1.5 sparks is that when you only have 1 spark, it's 77.8% chance of getting it. For two or more 1LBs, for 60.5% chance of success. I wouldn't actually mind a MLB Tachyon, so I'm going to be pulling 2 sparks on this one. That's my plan so far. We'll talk about flexibility later. And Romanu, I don't have it marked here, do I? Yes, I do. Romanu, I will be pulling a full 2 sparks. Nope, that should be 1 point. I do take it. It's 1.5 sparks as well. Yep, I took a full 2 sparks out. I don't know why I took a full 2 sparks out when we have free pull, so this is even a little bit higher than I have right here. So apologies for these little bit of misedits, but that's what I have right now. Next, I will be getting some role specialist cards. Now, this is the next thing that I think is important. Consider what you play. So I'm a late surger, quote unquote, main. I play late surgers almost in every CM. I like playing end closers, and I often play them when I can, and I think I will play them more when their skills are a little bit easier to get. I sometimes play Pace Chasers, sometimes when it's like easy to build, and I almost never build Frontrunners for obvious reasons because I am bad at them. So your role specialist cards, for Frontrunners, you have the Marazensky Speed card. For the Pace Chasers, you have the Fine Motion. It becomes a role specialist card after Romanu comes out too, and you have the Agnes Tachyon Speed, as well as the Mr. CB Wit for end closers, and late surgers have, well, that Nice Nature card that I keep talking about. That's why I pulled it. So I already have my role specialist card. I'm actually going to be pulling for Mr. CB because I actually do play end closers quite a lot, and I think because it's only, 1 LB, I should only need 1 spark. So I think it's pretty low investment, and it's in May. This is the first banner I'll probably be pulling on. And so I just take it out. I have 1 spark left on those ones, and we're getting a little bit slow in July, but we are still fine on our pull plan. So right now, CB, we have a bunch of stuff in July and then a bunch of stuff in December. The next thing I would consider is primary parents. Currently, the ones I've found, really, the frontrunners have a lot with Kidison Black and Saiyan Sky Ballroom. The Pace Chasers have the Shino Flower, and then the late searchers really only had Dober, which has already been passed, so I don't really got to think about this either. But if you're a frontrunner or a Pace Chaser, you do have these ones coming out. I may be missing one. Please let me know if I am, but it would be above what I'm going to talk about next. So I'm not pulling anything on those. And then it's like I have to consider is that like I'm probably going to pull on a character, but I don't have any strong feelings for any of them. I like the Ballroom banner because Saiyan Sky is good, even though I don't really play frontrunners too often. And I like Fuji Kaseki Ballroom just because she has Head-On and Speed Star, and it's like seems like it's a pretty easy Pace Chaser build, and I just like Fuji Kaseki as a character. I could pull Nishino Flower for just Pace Chaser inherent reasons when I do play Pace Chasers. I like End Closer Air Shakur just because she has 30% wit, and it's funny to me. And I could definitely pull on the cheerleader banners for niche situations for late surgers, but honestly, like just pull these on the next Uma banner. Easy. Like the Umas are gonna be around, so if you don't have any strong feelings, like you can just pull them later or use a ticket on them. Like I don't really have an incessant need to have these at the moment, so I will put one on here because I probably will pull on a Uma at some point. But yeah, so we're just gonna put Air Shakur on here for one. And there is a problem in this that I'm pulling a lot at the start and not at the end, but this is sort of flexible, so I'm just going to take another spark off of the entire pull plan. And so I'm at this point. I have a couple more, especially in the late part of the year where I could spark. I'm going to grab one more drink of water. I apologize. It's just a very long video. So some cards I've thought about. Sirius Symboli Wit. These are mostly late surger focused, like I said. First of all, has the wit problem in that, hey, I have nice nature wit, and I will be having Romanu wit, so eventually there's a third wit card really necessary, and it's really not. From the Brink is just medium, like slightly better timing on your left, and people have been saying that this card doesn't generate as much as like Fine Motion. That's true. It's not the absolute worst thing in the world. The mood effect does kind of counteract some of the training effectiveness, but it's just like this card seems like just a niche borrow in mediums because it's only medium tracks. There is a lot of medium CMs, but it just ain't it. Like, sure, it'd be nice to have on your left and From the Brink, but it still feels like it's not enough without the standard, like, to fight end closers and front runners because they have the consistent accelerations on those tracks. So I sort of dismiss this one, and it's happening too early. There's too many things I'm pulling for in this early bit. Seeking the Pearl speed actually seems kind of good. It's about 80% of Echidnas in black. It does have the really weird special thing of if you have high energy, you have 20% training effectiveness. If you have half energy, it's 10%. And then if you have no energy, it's 0%, which is funny because I'm kind of the person that was like, you should press the rest button more. So this is kind of fitting my playstyle. So I've actually highly considered just pulling that for that reason, that it kind of would fit my playstyle a lot. Dauntless is just like an okay skill. It's fine to pull. But the biggest thing is it does give Umastan on a Suzuka event that's never going to happen, basically. Like, it's a 50-50 event that'll ever happen. So I've considered this. I don't think it's as strong as stuff to come, but this isn't that bad. The big one is Symbolic Chris S. Stamina. For you lose yourself, this is really... that's funny, they changed the description right when I copied it. Basically, this is the Excel in longs for late surgers that brings them back into the meta with end closers because it is our version of straightaway spurt, essentially. I could definitely pick this card up and be an absolute monster in longs. Eventually, this will be on a wit card, but... I also have Super Creek already, and that's really what is pausing me from is I have enough stamina generation, and I could feel like I could probably just borrow this in Grand Live. And this is what I was saying, is if I pull on Agnes Tachyon and Light Hello a lot, then this can just be a borrow slot for when the long CMs happen, because I have all the good cards. I can borrow the cards that are specific for late surgers and for long races, right? This card happens right after Romanu. It's Air Groove Wit. It does have Fast and Furious. This is essentially Late Surger Mr. CB. It has the same unique effect. The difference is it does get an additional speed bonus instead of wit bonus, and a little bit more specialty priority instead of hint levels. However, Fast and Furious is just a lot easier to get than Daring Strike. That's really the reason why this isn't as good. This is sort of the cadence that after Romanu, pretty much every single roll gets a specific card that is built, a specific wit card that is built to basically give them a very good skill. But Fast and Furious's timing is just a little wonky. And I don't like it as much as just having on your left on a stat stick. And I already have the on your left card. So I've kind of dismissed this one a little bit, but it may be one of those flex cards that I pick up late in the year. This happens literally right after Romanu. So if something happens in the early year, or we get a lot of stuff, I may pick up this card. But 2 whole sparks for this seems a little bit much. So I'm just going to put this as a maybe, right? So we get towards the end of the year, we possibly pick one at some point, but hey, we've successfully made a pull plan where we have, we're still in the positive at the end with our conservative estimate at Romanu. So the problem with this is, and the reason why I'm hesitant to pull on stuff like that 1 extra UMA plus 1 extra card is because we have an absolute gauntlet in January through March 2027. We have Romanu, we have Ancestors, which is basically the new scenario PAL card. Late Surgers in particular have Jungle Pocket, which is a decent speed card. It may not be it's not a must pull by any means, but it's a very, very nice speed card with Late Surger skills. And of course we have El Condor Pasa speed, which is probably what I will be spending my crystals on. So my crystals, I do have 2 crystals right now. Basically, if anything fails in this pull plan, they are my fail safes to getting the cards up, because if I get really unlucky with Mr. CB or these light hello cards, I'm not going to want to spend 30,000 more carats. I'm going to basically be spending those crystals at that point. So that's what those crystals should be used for. And the biggest thing is being flexible. This is not set in stone by any means. I've even taken off the last one. If I'm not really feeling pulling an Uma right there, especially when I'm pulling for an Uma directly after it, I'm probably not going to pull it. If, let's say, Mr. CB after 50 pulls gives me after the first spark, Mr. CB may give me 3 copies, and I can just, hey, I may want to try for another 200. I would probably go for that if Light Hello and Agnes Tachyon give me everything I need in the first spark. I may not go for a second spark, for example. So all this is just flexible, and as the year goes on, I will adjust this to basically give me more breathing room in the next coming years. And it's a hard concept because, hey, there's a lot of carats in my inventory, especially as we get towards the late of the year when I have like 90,000 carats here. But just knowing that we have this gauntlet that's coming out, it's like anything that I can do to save a pity or 2 is just going to help me out in this, because I may not get every one of these cards, but I feel like we do need at least 3 of these. This is Late Surger. This is just me. It's my personal preference. But we have a gauntlet in January through March. And yeah, I'm going to save a bit of sparks for that. Even if it's like I have 120,000 carats by Romani. Like, that's perfectly fine. Everything's fungible, like I said. Hey, Future Burp here. I'm forced to edit this in because I explained this point really badly in the original, but I do not include meta Umas in my pull plans because I don't personally like pulling for meta Umas for the purposes of meta. It is not my personal playstyle in CMs. If you remember my anti-frustration plan, I suggest playing 1 meta, quote-unquote, Uma, 1 Uma that's really fun, and 1 Uma that furthers the account as you're building more and more parents for your account. That means the meta is a small percentage of the actual CM. A lot of times you're just going to have an Uma that is like in the top 5 best characters in the game for that particular track. And so if you keep trying to get the number 1 best Uma, you're just in this endless cycle of trying to pull for the best Uma for every single CM as you keep going on and on. And some of them do have longer shelf lives than other. It's not necessarily bad to pull for the top meta Uma. It's just that is a playstyle trying to be the number 1 Champions Meeting player every single time, versus rather having some fun, giving yourself a chance in the final CM, and playing characters that you actually enjoy. So at the very least, make sure you like the playstyle, make sure you like building it. That's really all that I have to say. And besides, just pull the meta Umas on your Oshi banner anyways. Like, they stay in the pool, so you will get a older meta Uma eventually. Like, you can pull Christmas Oguri on the winning ticket banner. It's perfectly fine. So, in conclusion, like I said, for this pull plan, we just pull for your Oshi, pull for the meta, quote-unquote, cards, the cards that really have a deep impact into the furthering of the year as the years go on, and then pull for your specific role cards. So if you're a front runner main, pull for Marazensky Speed. If you are an end closer main, pull for Mr. CB. And then pull for the sort of fringe cards at the very least for there, or pull for Umas that you enjoy but aren't necessarily your Oshi. Try to space out your Umas because the previous Umas are on the future Uma banners, and I think you will find a lot of success. If you have carats that you're not using, it's perfectly fine, because again, we have this massive gauntlet January to March. Every single role has a card like, Jungle Pocket or Air Group Wit, where you would like to pull, but you probably won't be able to unless you save for this time period. So there's an absolute gauntlet next year. Having extra pulls is not a bad thing whatsoever. So after that gauntlet, what am I waiting for? Let's just play a little game. What do you think I'm waiting for? This will be the last thing. Did you guess it? we're about.